Thyroid gland. Where is the thyroid gland located? Where is the thyroid gland located? Here. What is this part here? Neck. Is it the way you will anatomically locate the thyroid gland in your FMGE? Here. Neck. Yes? Where is the thyroid gland located? I will not tell the anatomical location. You have to find. Tomorrow is the last day of physiology class and you have to answer me all the questions which I raised. Okay. So, you have two lobes of the thyroid gland which are connected together by the structure called as. Yes, what is the structure which is connecting the two lobes of the thyroid gland? Isthmus. Okay. So this thyroid gland, it is the, so now we talk about the thyroid gland, and this thyroid gland is the largest endocrine gland of the human body, and it is situated in the neck, below the larynx, and in front of trachea. Okay. And when you see the histological appearance of the thyroid gland, okay, you will have the cells like this. You have the follicular cells which contains the cells over here like this. And each cell contains its own nucleus. This is a just rough representation of the thyroid gland. Okay, and this is the follicular cells. And in the surface, you have the cells which is also having a role, and they are called as parafollicular cells. And inside the follicular cells, you have the substance called as colloid. Okay, so these follicular cells are the one which plays a major role in the synthesis of thyroid hormones. And the parafollicular cells play a role in the production of calcitonin. This has the role in the production of thyroxine. Okay, since the thyroid gland is having different hormones and each is produced from the specific cells, thyroxine from the follicular cells and calcitonin is from the parafollicular cells. Right? யார் இருக்காங்க யார் இருக்காங்க அங்க? Okay, so this is the histology of the thyroid gland. Not audible now? So this is the histology of the thyroid gland. And now we will see the synthesis of thyroxine. Settle down yourself. Shall we start? Yes? Or you just again want one more break, 1 more minute? No? Okay, concentrate. So synthesis of thyroxine. Okay, now we are going to see the synthesis of thyroxine. This is to be considered because it is going to show the major significant function in our body. We are not seeing the synthesis of other hormones of the anterior pituitary so far we have seen. But this thyroxine synthesis, we need the major raw source called as iodine. Okay, so iodine, from where you are getting iodine? Normally in our daily requirement, what is the source? Salt. Okay, why this iodine is to be considered as a major role in case of pregnant women? Because with the help of this iodine only, we are going to get the thyroid hormone. And this thyroid hormone is having major role in the growth of nervous system of the fetus. Okay, the neural synapse, the neural plasticity, junction between the nerve and another nerve, we term it as a synapse. And if there is more and more of synapse, if there is multiples of synapse, if it is formed, the number of synapses which is present in our nervous system, it is going to determine the IQ of a specific individual. That concept you call it as neural plasticity. Okay, so this neural plasticity, if it is more, then the person will have increased IQ. Okay, so in order for that mechanism, since the thyroid hormone is not only having its role in the neural growth, it is also having its role in other structural growth in our body. But in case of fetal life, especially during the first trimester, before 45 days, the woman will come to know that she is pregnant only at the end of 45 days. But before she knows that she is pregnant, the neural tube, neural plate, everything is formed, fused, done. But she starts taking folic acid only after 45 days, confirming that she is pregnant. Okay, that is why the woman, if she is about to get married, she is being advised by the gynecologist even before marriage, 2 to 3 months before marriage, she should start taking folic acid. Okay, because it will improve the hemoglobin level, it improves the iron level in our body and improves the vitamin B12, B6, everything is needed for the neural tube and neural development of the newborn. Okay, clear? So that is why this thyroid hormone and the iodine level is considered as a major content in the pregnant women. Okay, so how this iodine is going to be having its role in the synthesis of thyroxine? First one, in the synthesis of thyroxine, we need thyrosin. What is thyrosin? It is a amino acid. Okay, this thyrosin will react with the enzyme called as peroxidase, and that is converted into monoiodothyrosin, MIT. So here a single molecule of iodine is trapped. So if the iodine is not present, iodine deficiency is there, this monoiodothyrosin will not be formed. Okay, so because of that reason only we are considering iodine as a major source in the thyroid hormone synthesis. Okay, so the iodine is trapped inside. Which cell of the thyroid gland is producing the hormone? Follicular cells. So this iodine is trapped by the follicular cells of the thyroid gland, and with the help of the tyrosine amino acid in the presence of peroxidase enzyme, the iodine is trapped inside the follicular cells and it is converted into monoiodotyrosine. And then many monoiodotyrosine will be formed. They will join together and it gives you diiodotyrosine. Okay, so now this diiodotyrosine, again it will join with one more monoiodotyrosine and it forms triiodotyrosine, and with the same denomination, 2 diiodotyrosine will join and it will give you tetraiodotyrosine. This you mention as T3 and this you mention as T4. So this is how the thyroid hormone synthesis is taking place. The most important step in this is iodine trapping. Okay, clear? So iodine first trapped inside, then the iodide is converted to, before it is trapped, it will be in the form of iodide. And once when it is undergoing the process of trapping, it undergoes oxidation process. Then only it is converted into the active form iodine. That will be utilized and forms MIT-DIT. Then it forms T3 and T4 and entering into the peripheral circulation for its target function. Okay, clear? If you see the series of steps, the first one you call it as iodine trapping in the follicular cells. Later on, oxidation process where iodide converted to iodine. And third, what happens? Monoiodothyronine joining with another monoiodothyronine that you call as coupling reaction. It takes place between MIT, DIT and two molecules of DIT forming T3, T4. All these are called as coupling reactions. Finally, what happens? All the molecules of T3, T4 which is formed, it is stored in the follicular cells and it is released only in the presence of a stimulus. So these are the steps in the synthesis of thyroxine synthesis. Okay, clear? So now we will see what are all. So now we will see how far this thyroid hormone is having the role in our body. Okay, clear? So it is mainly having the role in the growth of physical growth with the skeletal system, muscular growth, also the growth of visceral organs. And apart from that, it is also having its role in the sexual organs. Mainly, it is also having role in the formation of ovum and spermatozoa. Okay, if a person is having thyroid deficiency, she will not have normal menstruation, or the thyroid may be deficient or excess, hypothyroidism or hyperthyroidism. She will have abnormal or irregular cycle of menstruation. And if it is a male having the thyroid variation, then the number of sperm count or the sperm synthesized will not be to the normal matured level. The spermatozoa will not be normal. And third, It is also having the role in the mental function, in the sense neural growth. Okay, since these are the major functions where the thyroid hormone is having its role, almost all the parts of the body: skeletal growth, muscular growth, visceral organ growth, and in the growth of reproductive structures, the main reproductive gonads, okay, and also in the neural system. So the thyroid hormone, why in all the cases, if you see any abnormality along with CBC, do the thyroid function test. T3, T4, TSH. Why T3, T4, TSH? Because the same hypothalamo pituitary thyroid axis. What is produced from the hypothalamus to the pituitary? Thyrotrophin releasing hormone. This will stimulate the anterior pituitary. This will release thyroid secreting hormone. It will act on the thyroid gland and it will release T3 and T4. Okay, so if you are getting the T3, T4 excess, okay, for example, in the value you are getting T3, T4 excess for a patient and TSH is decreased. So where is the problem? Whether it is pituitary or the thyroid gland or hypothalamus. That is normal. If T3, T4 is excess, it will go and give signal to the pituitary gland as well as to the hypothalamus. Negative feedback mechanism. Okay. If, for example, if the person is having T3, T4 excess, TSH is also excess. Now, where is the problem? At the level of pituitary gland or at the level of thyroid gland? At the level of pituitary gland. In general, if the feedback mechanism is normal, then excess of T3, T4 will give signal to the pituitary gland. Then the pituitary gland should have decrease in TSH. But if TSH is high, it indicates abnormality at the level of pituitary gland. The pituitary gland is not receiving the negative feedback given by the T3, T4 from the periphery. It will give negative feedback. But if the pituitary gland is not normal, the abnormality may be of anything, or pituitary tumors, increase in the number of cells in the pituitary gland, releasing more and more of TSH. This more and more of TSH, it will keep on stimulating the thyroid gland. It will keep on producing T3, T4. And the outcome will be seen in all the functions. Okay, but the thyroid gland is normal. It is just doing what it is getting the signal from higher center. But in actual, if you analyze, there is a tumor of the pituitary gland leading to all these functions. That is why if the thyroid function test is being written, if it has been ordered, they will always see T3, T4, TSH to find the axis and to analyze where the defect in the axis. Okay, clear? Yes. And another example I will tell you. If the TSH is high in a patient's report, but T3, T4 is low. Now where is the defect? At the level of TSH is high. It will keep on giving again positive stimulus to the thyroid gland. But if it is normal, the T3, T4 should be also excess. But in the report, you are getting T3, T4 is decreased. So the defect is at the level of thyroid gland. Or the defect might be with the level of iodine concentration in the body. If the iodine is not to the required level, thyroid hormone cannot be synthesized. Okay, so this is how you will analyze with the thyroid function test and its reports. Okay, clear? And then next we will move on to the abnormal conditions. Hypothyroidism. It is most commonly seen in children and you will term it as cretinism. And whatever functions the thyroid hormone is doing, all those will become abnormal. Okay, so first and foremost abnormality you will find in case of children is milestone development is affected. What is milestone development? How will you assess milestone development? What is the first thing you will observe in milestone development? Once when the baby is born, next immediately, what is the first event you will notice in milestone? Neck stiffness. The neck should be holding in its position. And then next, roll over. Then lifting of the head. Then crawling. Then sitting. Yes or no? And then standing. Walking by holding. Walking without holding. Then running, you will run behind them. Yes or no? So milestone development is delayed. So that is one of the foremost indication if there is hypothyroidism. It means that the neural growth is not up to the normal level. Okay, so this milestone development is not only one of the indication of thyroid hormone deficiency, it is an indication for many conditions. Okay, so milestone will be normal if the neural growth and development is normal during the intrauterine life. Clear? Okay, and the next thing is you will find arrest. Whatever growth we are seeing here all together, arrest of growth, physical growth, skeletal growth, mental growth, everything. So in this case you will find the dwarfism where the IQ is low. So this dwarfism due to thyroid hormone, you call it as lorine dwarfism. Okay, so this is how you will differentiate the dwarfism by the pituitary gland with the thyroid gland. So this cretinism is what we are seeing in children. Okay, if you observe the hypothyroidism in adults, you call it as myxedema. Okay, clear? And then moving on to the hyperthyroidism. In hyperthyroidism, you will see the condition called as thyrotoxicosis or exophthalmic goiter, or also called as Graves' disease. Okay, clear? So in this case of hyperthyroidism, why it is called exophthalmic goiter is main thing you will notice easily without any investigation is protrusion of eyeball, and the person looks like the dead person in the graveyard. That is why it is termed as Graves' disease. Okay, you will have protrusion of the eyeball, and there will be increase in the BMR, increase in the body temperature, and increase in the cardiac output, increase in the sleeping pulse rate, and but the person will be intolerance to heat. But in case of hypothyroidism, whatever increase you have observed over here totally decrease, and intolerance to cold. Okay, clear? And another thing you will observe in hyperthyroidism is muscular weakness and loss of weight. Whereas in case of hypothyroidism, weight gain will be observed. Okay, so these are the differentiating features you will see between hypo and hyperthyroidism. In hyperthyroidism, everything will be increased except the weight of the person. It is decreased, loss of weight. Whereas in case of hypothyroidism, as there is hypo, everything what you have seen as increase in hyper will be decreased. This is the easy representation to remember which is hyper, which is hypo. Hyper is increase. So the BMR, body temperature, cardiac output, everything is increased except weight, decreased. And the vice versa, hypo, decreased. BMI, cardiac output, heart rate, pulse rate, everything is decreased except weight gain. Okay, and here the person is intolerance to heat. Hyper, increased temperature, intolerance to heat. Hypo, low temperature, intolerance to cold. Okay, just easy way to remember. If a case is given and asking you what is the condition of thyroid, hyper or hypo, mixed edema, or they are going to term you Graves' disease, what will you do based upon the symptoms? They are not giving you the TFT value, thyroid function test value is not given, only the symptoms they are giving. Then you can easily differentiate whether it is hyper or hypothyroidism. Okay, here, and then next we will move on to the another gland. Clear with this? Anterior pituitary, posterior pituitary, thyroid.